Hello, this is the daily COVID update from Deccan Herald. I'm Akhil. On the bulletin today, Karnataka records an all-time high, 149 new cases. The state's transport corporation start operations, and later in the bulletin, Nitin speaks to Vidhya Y from Vision Empower to find out if students who are visually or hearing impaired will be ready in time to sit for their examinations. But first, a look at the daily figures. At the time of the recording, more than 61,000 people are active carriers of the novel coronavirus in the country. India breached the 1 lakh mark in the number of cases reported so far. ICMR has tested more than 24 lakh samples for the novel coronavirus so far. Out of this, around 1 lakh samples tested in the last 24 hours. 149 new cases have been recorded from Karnataka today. A large number of these have a travel history to Mumbai. Chikmagalur, which did not have any COVID-19 cases so far, has reported 5 today. Mandya tops the list with 71 new cases, all from Mumbai. Davangere reported 22 cases, a mix of those who are primary contacts and also those with a travel history to Ahmedabad and Kerala. Kalburgi has 13 new cases and all are from Mumbai. In Shimoga, of the 10 new cases, 5 of these have a travel history to Mumbai and the rest have returned from Andhra Pradesh or Kerala, while the source of the infection is being determined for 2 others. With this, the state has reported 1,395 cases. In total, there are 811 active cases. 543 patients have recovered, while 40 have died. The state has tested more than 6,000 samples in the last 24 hours. There have been a total of 3 deaths today in the state. Patient 1185 from Bellary, patient 1291 from Vijaypura, and patient 1364 from RR Nagar in Bengaluru passed away today. They all had heart ailments and other comorbidities. With life almost back to normal, well, almost, we are getting back to the grind. For many of us, the lockdown came with a set of challenges. For students, online learning took off in a big way during the lockdown, but only for those students who could either afford it or were not faced with challenges in accessing the content. However, those who did not have their own laptops or have an internet connection fell behind, as did those who are differently able. The lack of content for those who are visually or hearing impaired has meant that these students will find it especially hard to face upcoming exams, since they have both lost out on classes and neither will they have enough time to prepare for examinations. My colleague Nitin spoke to Vidhya Y, who runs Vision Empower, to understand what the challenges are.
Yeah, so Vidhya, what do you think? The online learning has been adopted by schools, universities, everywhere across India, and they've even announced examinations in a month or two. So do you think the students with people with visual impairments would have a problem, coping with it, or if there is accessible study material for them?
Have to be either be postponed or additional accommodation, whatever is necessary should be given. Like someone should be able to take your exam, or you should arrange somebody as a resource person who can read material that is not accessible to you. So if additional accommodations are there, then it makes sense to conduct exams. Otherwise, it's impractical that everyone gets onto digital platforms now and get comfortable with technology and use it in a month or two.
The examinations which will be held in a month or two would be too early for them, because they're underprepared, because they do not have access to study material, especially in STEM subjects.
STEM subjects, it's out of the question itself, because there are hardly anyone who is studying STEM in college level, at the university level especially. Even in the subjects like English literature or completely theoretical subjects, people have to know how to type, they have to know how to interact with the computer, they have to have awareness a little bit about digital platforms. So all of it requires time.
So as an educator and an entrepreneur with special focus on creating accessible material in STEM for those with visual impairments, what can be done?
Suppose now, for example, if you take Zoom and very few apps have made their apps compatible with screen reader. That means you can use your app with a screen reader. Not all platforms have enabled accessibility options. That's the first thing. So if that itself is not there, then how would you get onto the platform even to take a class? And second thing, when the teacher is teaching, you have to take notes. So your audio along with screen reader audio becomes very confusing for a person to write down notes, especially if you are writing it on a computer, and not all people afford a computer. So if you are using a phone, you will have to audio record and listen to it later, and all of those are the issues. And features like screen share and all are not accessible because it's all in image format. So the teacher would have to provide the PPT or whatever material is being used in advance so that the student will be able to use. And if your medium of instruction is any regional language, screen readers have already huge issues reading the content on these regional languages. And they'll have much more difficulties if you explain it on an online platform, and if you're not able to see the visuals, there is no point of attending. So you need tactile material, you need to touch and feel what is going on. So it becomes very challenging. So there are a lot of these issues that have to be addressed before making digital platforms the norm.
That's a tough set of options there. Now, moving on. With news from Karnataka, various road transport corporations resumed operations and many restrictions were lifted as part of Lockdown 4.0. In Bengaluru, there was chaos as a KSRTC decided to run only 25% of its fleet. The shortage of buses was the main complaint of passengers going to Raichur, Yadgir, Kalburgi, Belgavi, and other districts in northern parts of Karnataka. In Bengaluru, BMTC has decided to operate buses on high-density corridors but will not allow cash transactions, making passes compulsory, except for 75 buses where passengers can make digital payments. In a release, the corporation said that passengers with monthly, weekly, and daily passes will be allowed to commute. The weekly passes, a new introduction, cost 300 rupees. Other types of passes will not be allowed. A photo ID card is mandatory to obtain the weekly pass, and it should be produced while traveling. Masks are compulsory for both the crew and the passengers. The passengers will be allowed to board the bus only if seats are available. In Mangalore, KSRTC has started bus services to taluk headquarters and long routes like Bengaluru, Mysuru, Shimoga, Hubli, and other areas. In keeping with the curfew restrictions, buses with destinations that fall beyond 7 p.m. arrival time will not be allowed to operate. As a result, after 11 a.m., no buses will travel to Bengaluru from Mangaluru. Private bus operators in the district have decided not to resume operations until the end of the month, since they will have to pay the tax for the entire month of May. Northwestern Karnataka Road Transport Corporation has also decided to introduce online payment for instant tickets through mobile apps to minimize human contact in buses. In the next 2 to 3 days, all the 4,500 buses under the NWKRTC jurisdiction will have a QR code payment system. To minimize physical contact of both passengers and staff, NWKRTC is also considering rounding the fare to the nearest value. As a safety measure, all drivers of NWKRTC have been instructed not to pick up a bus that has not been sanitized. Buses will be sanitized after every trip. On the first day of resuming its services, KSRTC operated a total of 1,606 buses, ferrying 53,476 passengers across Karnataka. From Bengaluru alone, 213 buses carry 6,000 passengers. KSRTC has also released a departure timing for the last bus leaving from Bengaluru to various districts. The last bus to Shimoga from Bengaluru will leave at 12 p.m. to Hassan, 3:30 p.m. to North Karnataka districts like Koppal, Hubli, Gadag. The last bus service is at 11 a.m. This is to make sure that the buses reach the destination before the curfew at 7 p.m. That's all from us today. For the latest updates, log on to deccanherald.com. Stay safe as always, and we'll see you tomorrow.